Hey YouTube, welcome to my HO scale shelf layout. It's 8 feet long by 18 inches wide with a small lead on the end for some switching. I don't have room here in my apartment for my large layout, so I had to compromise, and I'm having a lot of fun with this. This is my first attempt at an HO scale layout. I tried N-scale for a little bit, but didn't really like how I couldn't get into detail as much as HO scale. So I compromised and decided to try to build a little switching layout just to keep myself busy and to try new techniques on scenery and scratch building. So I guess I'll give you guys a little tour here. So it's basically just two shells built on these brackets from Home Depot. I just anchored them to the wall and then use these 18 or 16-inch brackets. There's two shelves. The upper one is just a valance and some storage, but this is basically built the same as the bottom one. Nothing crazy, very lightweight, so I can move it when I end up moving, and it's not going to rip off the wall. The lighting, just too cheap. I think they were $15 or so from Home Depot. These LED shop lights, they work really nice. Put in the corner there. As you see, I get a good spread of light, good color too. The bottom shelf is built exactly the same. Just a little routed edge here to make it look nice. The little switching lead here was after the fact. After the construction, I decided definitely need some room, more room for switching. So I made this little lead here, and also going to use it for some storage. And little display case there. I think it looks nice. Put a little light in the shelf above it. So I think I'll end up extending it again a little bit here. A removable section that I could take off and on to close the door, but as this thing keeps growing, I keep getting more and more ideas, so I think I want to put some type of another switch here and maybe a small track for something, but that's down the road. So I guess I'll start on one end and just kind of give you guys a tour. So as you can see with the snow, or melting snow, I'm modeling the northeast in the winter, maybe the end of winter. So everything's kind of dead and overgrown. I grew up in the northeast, so thinking of model railroading, and my grandfather was always in the wintertime and around Christmas. So granted, I live in Florida now. I can model a little piece of the northeast, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really turning out pretty good in my opinion. Since I don't have the room for a large layout with a classroom, railroad or something, I figured I'd just start with a small switching operation. And while I was doing an internship up in Philadelphia, near Philadelphia, a couple years ago, I saw these RSX or RSSX RailServe units switching a plant near Philadelphia, and I thought they looked pretty cool. I like the yellow, and so I figured I'll just use that, and one day when I build my large railroad, I could have even these operating a plant or a facility down the road. So I just basically, this is a Proto 2000 SW1200 or SW9 with sound. It's just the stock sound. I think I'm going to upgrade it with a Tsunami 2 decoder one day. But I basically just stripped it down and repainted it, added some details, and yeah, it looks pretty good. It does the job. I ended up building a second one, which I'll show you in a bit. It's a chop nose GP7, which is pretty cool too. So the first structure here is a scratch-built facility, or part of the facility, that takes some phosphoric acid used in sodas. We have some truck spots here, or trailers that could maybe take, I don't know, finished product out. And an unloading elevator here for, I don't know, maybe sugar or something that they would use. I don't know, I thought it looked cool, so I'll find a use for it. You could spot one car in there. That's pretty cool. The structure's scratch built with just sheets of styrene and other various pieces from other kits. These doors, the windows, stairs. I forget what the elevator is. It's either the Pike, I think it's the Pike Stuff kit. I have to look. But I thought it came out pretty good. I wanted to make this building look really old and part of the older part of the industry. These lights are 3D printed, actually. I just put some small LEDs in them and it came out really good. I'm using the Just Plug system, I believe it's called, from Woodland Scenics. So I'm just plugging those in and you can adjust the brightness. It's really cool. It came out really nice. I'm gonna be adding a lot more lights. I was just kind of experimenting with it. Over here is, I guess, in my eyes, a newer part of the facility that maybe they built after this green building. Kind of a concrete structure. It's also scratch built, just with styrene, and the doors from Walthers. Came out pretty cool. Got some lights underneath there. At the end, maybe I'll turn off the lights and show you guys all the little lights I have around it. And this part of the facility is, again, an older part that maybe they take in some corn syrup or liquid sugar. So we've got 3 spots here for some tank cars. There's another door there in case occasionally they get a box car of something. I still need to make some hoses or something that comes out to the cars from these pipes. Again, there's a couple of those lights that I built, or 3D printed. Back here eventually is going to be a yard office for RailServe, I think. A little parking lot, a small trailer, little office, and maybe put some pieces of equipment back there. I don't know. I tried experimenting with the backdrop, using some trees and blending it in with some paint, but I don't like how it looks, so I'm going to add a photo backdrop here. It's just some buildings and a tree line. It's just hard trying to find the right tree line. I want to find the, deadfall, and everything's pretty green that I'm finding online, but I think I found one that'll work good here. So I'll try to blend that into the backdrop, which I just painted blue with some white kind of hazy clouds. I just used a sponge and some paint. I think it came out pretty good. It's very subtle, but looks good for what it is. This front little, so this scene here is going to be just an ADM transfer facility. I'm going to take maybe 3 or 4 cars and they transfer over to trucks. So I'll come through here. This is just scratch built as well. I found a picture online of a transfer facility and it looked pretty good. It was nice and small. I was able to scratch build this little building. And I put a little unloading shed in there, which looks pretty cool. It's lit up. Again, these are those 3D printed lights. So in regards to the operations, this first track in the front is where the railroad, wherever this is connecting to, would leave incoming cars to spot at the different locations, and the rail serve crew will leave the empties to go back out. So pretty simple. Thinking about building a little shelf here to hold all the cars, where it's a little bit easier to switch them on here for a little operating session. Just a quick little shot of my little workstation here, little work desk. Working on a little project right now, adding some lights to this truck using a Arduino. Looks pretty cool. I'll show you guys that here in a minute. I'm gonna turn the lights off and show you a little night scene on the layout. So here's a little view at night. Well, during the day, but with the lights off. You see those lights now? I'm gonna add a few more at the top here, I think at the top of the elevator. Got one under there. I think I'll put some in the inside of the building too, a little shadow box to light up the windows. A couple under the overhangs here. Here's that truck I was working on. Just some micro LEDs and some fiber optics actually. And I didn't really want wires coming out of the truck, so I figured out a way to contain it all in the trailer. It's a small 9-volt battery and it's just enough room to fit. So the ones that are flashing, lights that are flashing, are just micro LEDs. And the lights that are on, steady on, are actually fiber optics. So for example, here in the cab, with the running lights, you can see there's just little fiber optics I drilled little holes through. And I glued them to a small LED and taped it up and put it inside the cab. So that's that. Put them in the trailer as well here. And in the back, same thing. I think it came out pretty good. It's just a kind of an experiment actually. I picked up one of those Arduinos pretty cheap. It was like $6 maybe on Amazon. I think I'm gonna buy a few more and trying to animate things a little more on the layout. It'll look pretty good. So that's that. Maybe weather it up a little bit. Looks too new, especially for the winter. And in the back here, a few more lights. Got one in the tank there. A couple up there. I built this little street lamp using one of the 3D printed lights and then just a tube of styrene. A couple more here, lit up the inside. And it looks pretty cool. I think I'm gonna add another couple more lights on the end here. Well, I hope you enjoyed my little tour of my shelf layout. Maybe I'll try to post some videos occasionally of some progress. Depends how much interest it gets. But I work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, so I have a lot of time to work on this. But when I'm away for 2 weeks, it's great to brainstorm and order new stuff. So when I'm home, I have plenty to do. So anyway, until next time.